Hi, everyone. Um, I hope today is a good morning for you. It's beautiful here, a little nippy, but it's supposed to warm up by the noontime. We're supposed to be 74, I think it is, which is really good. We've been kind of cool and windy and rainy for a couple of days. I'm in my paint room trying to clean it up before we go on our trip, but it's been a slow process. Uh, so camper's almost ready. We've got most of the stuff done. Just these next few days is getting the groceries bought and packed into the fridge and packed into the camper and get the clothes put where they're supposed to go and test this, test that, and then we'll be ready at 5 o'clock in the morning to Friday morning to take off. So I'm pretty excited to get going. We've got family here, so I'm in my paint room right now because I don't want to wake anybody up. So bear with me if the lighting's not very good. I need to stop saying That's my goal. Stop saying So my husband and I watched a show the other day. I don't usually watch it unless he's got it on, and I think it's called Whatever, whatever, something like that. And then what it is three gentlemen, three young men, I guess you would say, that are on one side of the panel, and then on the other side of the panel, they usually have a panel of young women. And these young women are probably not the brightest young women you could have on the show. And that, I think, is the whole point of the show, is to see how smart these young women are. So it's these young women are like sorority girls, high class girls who maybe brought up with money. I mean, maybe I'm offending somebody, but I don't care. That's how I got an impression on these girls. And they were talking about Save the America Act. Now, there are a lot of women out there who are disillusioned, who are brainwashed, who are totally going down the wrong line when it comes to this Save America Act. I do not understand where they come from, and it makes me angry to think that these women that come out and talk about how through the Save the America Act that Trump is trying to prevent women from voting, that he's trying to suppress us and to control us and make it harder for us to vote because we have to go out and get all this documentation to make sure that we're a citizen. Well, in the state of Idaho, we have a thing called the Star Card. And on the Star Card, you have to have certain documentation. When I went to apply for it, I didn't have the right kind of documentation. I had the documentation, but it wasn't official. So I had to go and get it. It took me 2 weeks to get everything I needed. The proper birth certificate, the proper marriage certificate, and then I was ready to go as far as getting a Star Card. But then I found out as long as I had a military card, I didn't need a Star Card. So all that, of course, it wasn't really worth a waste of my time. It's good to have it in your file. And it didn't really cost me all that much money. I think it cost about 60, 70 bucks for everything. So I didn't have to go get a passport. So it just, I don't know where they get their information. I don't know. I guess it's from the Democrats and that side that are putting out these lies. I just don't understand it. Well, these women on this show are, I can't really say that they're women because they don't act like women. They don't think like women, let's put it that way. They were talking about Save the American Act and how it was going to suppress them, and they don't feel it's right as a woman that they will be suppressed and can't vote. So they don't think it's right that they had to have documentation to prove that they're a citizen. And so the guy started asking them, well, you have to have identification to get alcohol, right? Well, yes. What about to get on a plane? Well, yes. How about if you want to get into a federal building? Like, do you need? Well, yes. So you don't think getting identification to vote is right? Well, no, not if it's going to suppress me. But it's not going to suppress you. So we tried to explain it to these girls, okay? And these girls were just going like, yeah, right. Well, what really blew my mind was this one girl spoke up and said, whoa, 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 whoa. It depends on your state. And everybody kind of looked at her and asked her, what are you talking about? In the state of Utah, if you want to get your birth certificate and your marriage certificate and all this, in the state of Utah, your birth certificate will then be changed to have your married name on it so that your birth certificate and your marriage certificate will both have the last name. I paused for a minute, had my husband rewind it, and listen to her again. Now, get this, she said. In the state of Utah, when you go apply to get your birth certificate and a marriage certificate, your birth certificate's last name will be changed to match the marriage certificate. I just burst out laughing and rolled on the floor almost because I could not believe that came out of this girl's mouth. Did she understand what she just said? If your birth certificate has your married name on it, that means your husband gave birth to you. I mean, I was confused. I was just like, and the guy just was shaking his head, going like, no, that cannot be changed. It's a legal document. Your parents gave you the last name. They're your parents. That name stays with you. All you have to do is to have a legal document of your birth so that it proves that you were born here in the United States. So that when you got married and had to change your name, you were still considered a U.S. citizen. I was just like, oh my God, I can't, I'm sorry. I still to this day laughing about that because I just can't picture that being now. Okay, if anybody's from Utah out there and you know this is the truth, let me know, okay? Because I want to fully understand it is the truth because I still cannot rack my brain around it. Why would you want to get your birth certificate and a marriage certificate if they're going to change your birth name? No, I mean, I, d- I don't understand it at all. And some of the girls also said that to the effect that if they did that, they would be suppressed and in some ways say that they would be under the suppression of their husbands now. And I'm going like, I don't understand that either. One girl goes, and I'm sorry, if these girls see this, me talking about this, which they probably never will, but, and I don't mean to offend them, but they need to get a brain. They need to think on their own and investigate what they're talking about and not believe everything a friend or a Democrat or a group of people tells them, because what they hear is not always the truth. Find out the truth. Go to different sites. Talk to some people. I mean, just like when I heard about the Save American Act and these women were coming out and the Democrats were talking about how it was going to suppress women and it was going to prevent the African American women from voting and all this and suppress the black culture. I started reading it and I went, it doesn't say anything about that. What it's going to do is going to make voting more legal, more for the American citizen, not people who do not belong here. But these girls did not understand that. They don't understand it. And the things that they came out of their mouths, just, I couldn't stop laughing. It was just a shock. And I'm sorry, it's just not these girls. There's a whole group of people out there, a whole group of a generation of girls, even men, young men, boys, that have this warped concept of just not the Save America Act, but anything that's being put forth. Excuse me, I can't even think of the word I want to be. What's being brought forward, and they're being told one thing, and that's the truth. They're not looking at both sides. They're not wanting to look at both sides and seeing if they compare the truth and finding the truth. And that's, you know, I'm sorry, we had a son that grew up like that in school. He went to school, his government teacher told him one thing, and that was gospel. You couldn't tell him anything different. And I see these in these young kids that are going to college, especially. You have a professor that's teaching some political science or some other kind of class, and what they're hearing from their teacher is gospel to them. They're not looking at something as, well, this is his point of view or the point of view from the instruction manual. There's got to be something else. There's got to be another side. My last class in college was a social studies class, and I loved my teacher. We had a wide range of ethnicity. Ooh, that's a word. It's early in the morning, huh? Um, and he opened a lot of doors when we talked about things. It wasn't just his opinion. He would place it out on the floor and then he would ask us our opinions on the topic. And then we'd have to write a short little paragraph on how we felt about others' opinions and how that fit into what we believed. And that's the way it should be. I mean, we should learn from each other, take what others believe and applying it into what we believe and seeing how it fits. I'm not saying that's always going to work, but we need to be more broad minded. Right now, I think our society is so closed minded, so narrow minded. And that's what we're seeing. That's why we have all these riots and people out there protesting against ICE and protesting against what Trump is doing, protesting against what he's doing with Iran. Yeah, I don't always agree with what he's doing. Um, I don't always understand what he's doing, but I tried to look at it to the point of he's the president of the United States, and what he's doing it for the benefit of our country. So I try to read up on stuff. I might not understand what I read, but I try to find something that will help me gain a better understanding. But not necessarily all the time I get that understanding. And luckily, I have a social group, that social media group, through my school's community, that we all have different opinions, all the different things, and I've been learning a lot from these people, and it's broadened my mind a lot too. So that's all. You know, I is it Gen X that's now? I get it so confused. I don't know. There's generations growing up. What do we call them, right? Um, they, it's one way and one way only. And what is right for them is wrong for everybody else. And they're so narrow minded. And they just grow up, how do I put it? Empty minded, empty soul, because they can't think beyond what they believe and what's in their head. They can't accept that there's others out there that have different point of views, different beliefs, and that everybody, it goes into a melting pot and we can learn from each other. You know, it it drives me crazy when it all goes back to, when how I grew up. We had respect for everybody. We had respect for everybody's opinion and points of views, and um, we accepted that our neighbor might not accept how we live, but that didn't bother them. Okay. They were still our neighbors. They were still our friends. Um, you know, we, that's just how I grew up. But nowadays, you could be neighbors with people. You could be close, like some of these housing complexes, you're like arm length away from your other house, and not know them. And I think that's a lot of what's going on. We don't know our neighbors. It used to be, when I was growing up, you knew your neighbors. We lived in a cul-de-sac at one time, and we lived at the end of the cul-de-sac. And the house next to us, my dad and my parents' house, they'd open the garage on Saturday night and they'd have a big barbecue. And everybody from the cul-de-sac was welcome. You'd have a big party. And you don't see that anymore. I remember block parties where one end of the block would be blocked off and the whole neighborhood was invited. And you just don't see that anymore. And I think the new generation that's growing up is missing out on all that social stuff that you get from those kind of interactions. Um, but there's nothing we can do. We're so separated in our beliefs. We're so separated in our cultures. We're so separated in our races right now. I'm not a racial person. I don't base my beliefs and who I like and everything by the color of their skin. I like everybody. Excuse me. But right now, uh, that's not the way it's going. And, but I just feel sorry for kids like these girls that were talking, because I don't want to say they're dumb, but they made themselves sound dumb. I know they can be smarter than they are. Sorry about that. My grandson was coming in. Yeah. Um, but they just their comments, they're so narrow-minded, and what they've been told is right. They just made themselves look dumb, and I just feel sorry for them because it's sad because they could be smarter than that. All they have to be, all they have to do is open their minds, and listen to others, and then maybe they'll learn something more than they already have learned. I don't know. I just, I, every time I think about this girl in Utah, what she said, oh my gosh. But like I said, if anybody knows it to be the truth, please let me know. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to offend anybody. So just let me know. Gosh. Oh, all righty. Well, if you like this video, please show it by the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I would love it. It is free for you. Um, also, if you are interested in doing a YouTube channel, you can do so by joining a group at Common Sense Methods at the school, school site, which school is spelled with SKOOL. I will have a link down in the description box for you. Please do so. It's free for 7, maybe 9 days. I can't remember. After that, all you join is for $9 a month. It is a great community. You learn so much from them. There's, we meet on Saturdays once in a while, have an open discussion about things that are going on, things that we need to learn. Kevin and Michelle are so great. They inform us about things that are coming up. They teach us how to do things. I love my social media group. Love my school community. I don't have many friends outside of this school community, so I think that it's great to have these kind of friends who are on the same path as I am. So please do so. Join if you want to. Try it out. It's for free for your trial period. What's the risk? So remember, be happy, be creative, and join me on my next journey, which I hope will be our trip, if I can do it. See ya.